Have you ever lost someone you love? Nobody can be fully prepared for what grieving looks like and how long it will last. In late 2020, my father passed away and it crushed me. Today, I'll be speaking on the grief process, allowing yourself the time and space needed to adequately deal with it, and the importance of seeking professional help as a tool to assist you on your journey. In his 1961 book, A Grief Observed, author C.S. Lewis wrote, "Grief is like a long valley, a winding valley, where any bend may reveal a totally new landscape." He wrote this quote following the death of his beloved wife, his grieving process, and his struggle with faith, doubt, and tragedy. He did not intend to publish this book, instead, writing it as a personal journal. I could, in a sense, relate to C.S. Lewis and his loss, um, and he kind of knew exactly what he was going through. His message was clear: grief is unpredictable and complex, a journey that is much like navigating through the twists and turns of a valley road. It is not static, but a process that everyone moves through differently. How was I supposed to apply this quote to my life? I had no idea, and I knew I needed assistance. While stationed in Hawaii, my father called with some important news. He had cancer. He reassured me that it was super treatable and had an 80% survival rate. Little did I know that in 10 short months, my father would take his last breath while I held his hand. In the days following his death, I rounded an ugly bend in a winding valley of grief, the unraveling of our family, people coming to claim my father's possessions, and relationships falling apart. Soon after, I received notification that my request to move back to Rapid City was approved. Ahead of me was a 3,500-mile move with totally new landscapes. Moving back to my childhood home while I built a home of my own allowed me to be there for my mom, and it was easy to pretend that my dad was just at work or on another deployment. I never lost someone so close to me, had never given grief a thought, and had no idea how to navigate this. For me, grief was a long process, and I've encountered an unexpected range of emotions, memories, and a drive to ensure my father's not forgotten. Seeking professional help to handle my grief was incredibly constructive, and it gave me the tools to shift my thinking, processing, and perspectives. Thanks to insightful quotes like the one from C.S. Lewis, which adequately articulate the unpredictability of grief and getting outside support, I'm focused on the positives rather than dwelling on the negatives. I'd like to leave you with this message. Losing a loved one is never easy, and it is essential to allow yourself the time and the space to fully grieve their loss. It is a deeply personable, unpredictable, and evolving journey, and as you move through it, you may encounter moments of profound transformation. Allow yourself time and space to properly grieve. If you need outside help, seeking professional help opens your mind to different perspectives. Grief is not something someone can just get over, but rather a journey down a long, winding valley where any bend may reveal a totally new landscape. All right, do you guys have any questions?
Did that grief like push you to seek after, a higher power to cope?
For me, it just like because everything was so unpredictable, I never experienced something like this. It really made me look inside of myself, more so than like seeking like a higher power. I mean, I did seek help. Talk to a professional like counselor and stuff like that, just to kind of help me get some thoughts out. But for me, it really turned in on myself.
Okay.
Who did you lean on the most when you were grieving? Because you said you moved back so that you could support your mom, but who did you feel was your main support?
I'd say my wife. She had also lost her dad a young age. I lost my dad when I was 27. So it was really easy to relate to her in a way, whereas my mom kind of like shut down. It was easy to like really bounce back that grief off of my wife because she knew exactly what I was going through. Any other
Um,
questions?
so my question is, like, even like till now, like, how do you, does that grief like still ever hit you from time to time? And if it does, like, how do you still like deal with it?
Yeah, so there's this really cool like graphic that I saw where it's like this mason jar with like a ball in it, and that ball is supposed to represent grief. And when it's really fresh, it's like a really big ball. And then as time progresses, now 3 years later, that ball is still the same size, but the jar is larger or something like that. And I think like the grief still hits me, but it's so much more unpredictable now. Whereas before I was sad for a while, and then and now it's like, oh, this weird thing happened to me during the day or whatever, and it just reminded me of my dad, and it makes me sad. So, but it's a lot more infrequent, I would say.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank
All
you.
right.